Update 3.4 is out right now and introduces 4 new weapons plus upgrades. You can get new weapons for Hana, Peri, Cain, and Abel, and these just cost SP to grab when you can get these units to 5-star rarity. If you want their special upgrades, well then that's going to cost you 200 Divine Dew, which isn't cheap. So let's cover all 4 of these weapons so you can decide whether or not you want to breathe some new life into these old units. So first up we have Hana, who got her own katana. Hana's default kit features an armor slayer, and Hana's katana is a 16 might version of that, being effective against armored foes. This is very simple and can be a good ability if you want to use Hana in arena where you can find armor units literally everywhere. Now if you pick up the special upgrade for this katana, it gets the effect if unit initiates combat, grants attack and speed +4 during combat. This is more commonly known as the skill Swift Sparrow 2, so Hana gets extra damage against armor enemies and gets some nice offensive stats when she starts to fight. The effects of this weapon may be a bit basic, but for Hana they work well for her. If you look at Hana's base stats, you'll see she is a bit frail with only 37 HP and 23 defense. However, her 35 attack and 36 speed are absolutely amazing, especially for a launch unit. If we equip Hana's katana and initiate a fight, Hana will end up with 55 attack and 40 speed just from her weapon alone, which is pretty insane. She has always been a more high risk, high reward type unit, especially since she has life and death, but with this new katana giving even more attack and speed, Hana can afford to spec into different skills including additional defensive abilities. Of course, if there isn't anything wrong with going full on attack, it would definitely be a lot of fun. Speaking of which, let's discuss skill and build ideas. Since the katana already grants Swift Sparrow, you can double up with it in the A skill as well. Plus 8 attack and speed on initiations is scary, and with her good speed, Hana is definitely a good desperation unit. You can go for the other stat boosting A skills as well, such as Fury 3, Darting Blow, or Death Blow, anything to help Hana dish out more damage. Since Hana is a unit who has tons of attack and tons of speed, she's a great user of either Heavy or Flashing Blade for faster special charges. You can pair Desperation and one of these Sacred Seals with 2-turn specials like Glimmer or high cooldown specials like Gale Force or Aether. Now since Hana's katana gives her armor effectiveness, you may want to look into no follow-up. While Hana can definitely one-shot a bunch of armor units, her high speed can mean next to nothing when dealing with Wary Fighter or Bold and Vengeful Fighter. With no follow-up, you can bypass Wary Fighter or stop Bold Fighter from running Hana over. Again, Hana isn't that tanky, so 2 hits from an armor unit can definitely finish her off. With no follow-up, you can instead opt for some extra defenses from skills like Sturdy Impact, Sturdy Blow, or even Close Defense. Attack Smoke would be another excellent skill. While Hana definitely wants to engage when she can, if you have no follow-up, she can potentially fight off bold armor units. Imagine Hana engages and takes out a target, but is still in range of a bold fighter lance unit. If she can just tank one hit, she can stop their second attack, which may also be a charged special, and retaliate with her own 2 hits and possibly her own special. To make it easier to survive, attack debuffs like Attack Smoke can really come in clutch. Finally, if you just want a little recklessness, Hana does have Life and Death by default, which grants another +5 attack and speed in exchange for losing the same amount in defense and resistance. You can pair this with Vantage plus Savage Blow or even double Savage Blow skills. Ideally, Hana initiates and uses her huge attack and speed boost to annihilate someone, apply Savage Blow to their teammates, and hopefully put them into 1-hit KO range. Then, when they attack Hana, she can use Vantage to clean them up. Definitely not a super sound strategy, especially since you won't be able to stop ranged threats, but Vantage is still a solid skill for units with really high attack. Now overall, if you do build up Hana with her katana, it's going to be for A, destroying army units, or B, trying to outspeed even the fastest of enemies. While Hana may not have the greatest defenses, players who really like her can make her a lot tankier through merges, summoner support, and the rest of the team buffs. I think Hana got a decent weapon, and it should be a good pickup for longtime fans. Next up, we have Peri, who has gotten her own unique lance. Peri's lance is a stronger slaying lance with accelerated special trigger and 16 might. Nothing fancy, but slaying weapons are generally good because they are very versatile and work well with many different special skills. Now if you pick up the special upgrade for Peri's lance, it gains the effect at the start of combat if unit's HP is less than 100%, grants +4 attack, speed, defense, and resistance during combat. So basically, as long as Peri takes a single point of damage, she will get an extra +4 to all stats, which is great. This is a similar effect to the Sealed Falchion, Exalted Crom, and Lucina can get, just that you trade out the Dragon effectiveness for cooldown reduction. Honestly, Peri's lance keeps things simple and it creates some interesting build options. While she won't get the stat boost from 4 HP, it's insanely easy to lose 1 health, and there are many skills to combo with that rely on low HP anyway. Similar to Hana, Peri has decent attack and speed, a good res stat, but pretty low HP and defense for a melee character. The extra stats when she gets hurt is appreciated for both offense and defense, plus if you heavily invest into her when merges, that helps improve her physical and magical bulk by a lot. If you just focus on attack and speed with the Lance's stat boost, she'll have 37 attack and speed effectively, and you can always opt for a plus attack or plus speed boon. For builds, the easiest combination for Peri's Lance will be the usual Fury plus Desperation. 1. Peri's low base HP makes it easier to get into Desperation range, and 2. Fury guarantees she'll lose HP even if she were to attack a ranged unit, for example. With Fury 3 or Fury 4, Peri gets some nice upfront stats as well, and once she does take damage, that's an easy +7 to all stats at all times. Once you get below 75% HP, Peri can cleave through enemies using Desperation and her nice attack and speed boost. Now, since Peri does have a good rest stat, she can utilize ploys. Attack, speed, or defense ploys would be good options. Another skill that utilizes lowish HP are the Brazen skills, and Peri can run Brazen Tag and Speed or Brazen Tag and Defense to good effect. You can run both of them at the same time, but this does amplify Peri's weakness, being that she's not getting any stat boost when at full health. She'll have to fight a battle and take some damage, or you can use skills like Ardent Sacrifice to lower her down safely. If you can make it to Brazen range, Peri can get some massive stat boost, including +18 extra attack and +11 speed and defense. If you want to run Brazen skills, you're gonna have to plan accordingly though. Now, to mix and match with any type of builds, Peri should be looking at certain specials. If you go for Mumbo or Luna, she can activate those in one round of combat, thanks to the Accelerate special trigger effect. However, Peri can be quite deadly using Gale Force and combining with Heavy Blade. Since Gale Force would be a 4 cooldown, 2 Heavy Blade hits would charge it, and that means Peri could potentially charge Gale Force on enemies who can't hit back. That would be either ranged enemies or when she is using Desperation. For other A skills, these solo skills are excellent on Cavaliers since they can travel through spaces. Only thing is that they are still quite hard to get. As for C skills, Attack Smoke will again be a good option. Peri fights, applies that -7 attack debuff, and she's also getting that +4 defense and res buff from her lance. She's not going to be the greatest defensive unit with this weapon, but that defense and res boost can keep her alive. I do think Peri's Lance isn't that bad if you build her right. You have to accept that her first battle effectiveness may not be that great, and often that's the most important fight. If you can manage to get Peri to her HP thresholds, she can definitely be a scary threat. You're going to have to look to abuse Desperation, especially since she doesn't have the greatest physical bulk, even with the extra stat boost. Our last new weapons come as a pair, so we'll be going over both of them. Cain is a Sword Cavalier and has gotten the Bull Blade, while Abel the Lance Cavalier has gotten the Panther Lance. These two weapons do the exact same thing, just that one is a sword and one is a lance. Both of them are 16-my weapons and have the effect, during combat, boost units attack and defense by the number of allies within 2 spaces times 2. This has a maximum of +6 to attack and defense, which means you need 3 allies nearby for the full effect. We've seen this effect before but with different stats, but it's essentially an Owl Tome with a larger range but less stats. Important to note that Cain and Abel can be nearby any ally, and this is important to distinguish for the next effect. The special upgrade grants if cavalry allies within 2 spaces use sword, lance, or axe, and unit initiates combat, unit attacks twice. This basically means Cain and Abel get the Brave weapon effect as long as they are within 2 spaces of another cavalier that has a melee weapon. Technically, this isn't all melee cavaliers since beast cavalry units are melee units too. Now, logically, it would be best if you were to run Cain and Abel together with their new weapons. The two of them can proc the Brave effect for each other as long as they are within 2 spaces. Also, if you proc the Brave effect, you guarantee to at least get 1 stack of the attack and defense boost. So if you were to activate the second ability, Cain and Abel hit twice with a 16-my weapon, plus at least 2 more extra attack and defense. Both of them have decent attack stats with 32 and 33 respectively, and the extra might from their weapon helps make up some damage. Because it's a Brave effect, Cain and Abel can also quad attack potentially, and they aren't receiving speed penalties like regular Brave weapons. With 32 base speed on both of them, it's not the highest, but you can make it work, especially against middling speed units. The Bull Blade and Panther Lance are definitely comparable to the White Wing Sisters weapons. Instead of a triangle attack, you only need 2 cavalry units. With 3 movement, it should be easy to set up in position, but you may encounter problems on maps that are crowded with trees or mountains. For builds, Cain and Abel can become serious threats, but it mostly comes down to execution and how you position them every battle. If you want to go full damage and take advantage of the Brave weapon effect, then there's nothing wrong with the good old Death Blow. More attack on a high damage weapon that's hitting twice adds up, and with how easy it is to get home cavalry, our boys can really stack up that attack stat. I do like hit and run on Brave weapon cavaliers. You can opt for other B skills like Chill Defense. With all the attack stacking, Heavy Blade will be a great Sacred Seal choice and works with many types of specials. It goes without saying that a plus attack boon is going to be very effective on just about any build. However, if you have the need for speed, a plus speed boon could also work because it amplifies the potential for quad attacks. Cain and Abel have a pretty okay 32 base speed, and if you use skills like Swift Sparrow plus a Darting Blow Sacred Seal, that's an easy plus 10 speed on top. Not to mention that Horned Cavalry is again very easy to get a hold of, so there's another +6 attack and speed. If I'm being honest, a plus speed boon may be overkill if you stack this much speed skills, but I'll leave it up to you. Since we are trying to nab quad attacks, Desperation is a fine B skill, and if Cain and Abel do drop a bit low, they can absolutely devastate even the tankiest of enemies. Lastly, I do want to entertain the idea of defensive builds for the Bull Blade and Panther Lance, because remember that their base effect works on both phases. If you bait on the enemy phase, it's extremely easy to get that +2, +4, or +6 extra attack and defense, and if you want to double, then they can both use Quick Riposte. If you want to only focus on physical damage, attack and defense bond is great and can potentially work on the player phase too, although that comes down to stricter positioning. For more defensive power, Close Defense Sacred Seal and Fortified Cavalry are options as well. If you run a tactics team, you can have Cain and Abel both using Horned Cavalry to buff each other, while another teammate uses defense or res tactic. While these weapons can help boost their okay defenses, they also give Cain and Abel a strong player phase, even if you don't fully spec for full damage. Now I just want to discuss team compositions a little bit. If you run a full horse emblem team, do remember that the Brave effect only works when sword, lance, or axe cavalry units are within 2 spaces. That means if Cain and Abel take up 2 spots, you have to decide whether or not you want to run another melee cavalier such as an axe cav, or 2 ranged cavaliers like Reinhardt or Brave Lyn. Tactics teams can work if you use the duel, but they will need each other to activate the insanely strong Brave effect. The attack and defense buffs do work with any ally type however. Overall, I think Cain and Abel got some really cool weapons. I thought the triangle attack upgrade the White Wings got was extremely powerful, so I will say I'm tempted to upgrade the duel just to see how they perform. Same as the White Wings, you don't have to run Cain and Abel together, but personally I think it's worth it, especially for players who just like the characters. That wraps up this batch of new weapons and upgrades. I think everyone here got some practical abilities, and if you enjoy any of these characters, I think the new weapons are worth checking out. Let me know if you're going to be using any of these new weapons and characters, and share your build ideas with everyone in the comments. Thanks for watching. I'll be talking about the upcoming banner soon, so I hope to see you there.